And welcome live inside DETV Sports. We are back in action. I think the last time we all got together was right before the Super Bowl, maybe, right? Was that the last time we had a show?
Somewhere around there. Yeah.
Wow, well, we're back, and we're going to get into a fixated schedule here as we move forward, and it's the best time of the year. Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, Matthew Maurer, and guys, we are back, ready to go. It is March Madness. It is time to dive in to this NCAA tournament bracket. So we have a lot to get into. I mean, if you remember last year's show, Jason had North Carolina from the beginning heading to the national championship. So we're going to get Jason's picks. We're going to get Matt's picks. We'll get my picks. It's going to be a great day today, guys. But first, though, before we dive into the big news in the NCAA tournament, a lot to talk about. We also have some NFL free agency a little bit as well, some different moves. Teams were allowed to start talking with players and agents today at 12 o'clock. And things started to pick up rather quickly earlier this afternoon. So a lot going on. Matt, let's start with your 49ers here. And they take a big part of that Eagles defensive line. They get Javon Hargrave, 4 years, I believe, $84 million to bolster that defensive line. Also, you bring in a little Sam Darnold there in the quarterback room that now contains Trey Lance, Darnold, and, of course, Brock Purdy, who'll be coming off injury a little bit later on in the season. So what do you think about that, Javon Hargrave to the 49ers?
Oh, I love it. I mean, we really needed another guy to put some pressure. I mean, pretty much this year it was pretty much Bosa who would attack. So it's great to have another guy that can come in and disrupt things. But we had a huge loss today with McClinchy leaving us at the right tackle and going to Denver. That's going to be a hard loss. It's going to be bad. I don't know. I guess we're going to go in the draft and probably going to target a tackle. But yeah, that's a huge loss for us. So not all rainbows over here.
That's right, and not all rainbows in Baltimore either as we head over to Jason McCall. Jason, if you've been keeping up with Jason on social media, he's been very vocal about the fact that he wants Lamar Jackson back in Baltimore. Things not looking great as of right now, Jason. And we caught your post a week or two ago. The non-exclusive franchise tag on Lamar. He's free to talk with some other teams here in the next couple of weeks. He is his own agent, which is obviously a unique situation in itself. But to talk about the Ravens, as a whole here, Calais Campbell gets released today. That saves him $9 million cap hit for next season. Chuck Clark sent to the Jets in that trade a week ago as well. Give me your overall take on what the Ravens have done so far, and obviously Lamar Jackson. I've never seen him like this. I don't think I've ever seen him speechless like this.
Honestly, no. I do not know. Ravens fans do not know what Eric DeCosta is doing this season. There's claims that the Ravens don't have any money with the cap. However, you look at teams like even look at the Cleveland Browns. They shifted $36 million of Watson's salary to create cap space. We keep doing the same. A lot of other player contracts, but a big loss today is Ben Powers actually going to the Broncos, making their offensive line just that bit better, along with McClinchy going over there.
So they stole a couple of your guys.
And we have a bunch of free agents. I mean, Marcus Peters, you go down the line, there's about 8 or 9 free agents who were starters or valuable contributors to that team in the last few years. So I do not know what will happen, and this is even past Lamar. Of course, we know that's the biggest situation, but even past Lamar, it looks kind of scary hours in Baltimore, if you will, to quote Drake. And I just don't know what's going on. I don't understand the thought process. I really don't. I don't get the logic, because you have someone in Lamar Jackson who was an MVP, 48 and 16 as a starter since being in the league, top 5 in a lot of categories since he's been in the league. Yet you don't pay him. I'm just leave it there.
Let me ask you this as well, because obviously a big part of this was the owners last year when Deshaun Watson got that fully guaranteed deal. That was almost an inner freak out amongst that owner circle. That was a path that they didn't want to take for any quarterback going, in the future. And obviously that happens with Watson and now Lamar. I would say bad timing, definitely, with the way for his new deal coming up, because they're trying, in my opinion, to use him as that example.
It's collusion.
Which I disagree with.
Say what it is.
Yeah,
it's collusion.
Which I agree with you with. I would have given him the money already. We'll see how it all plays out. But I think, bad situation. Are you at least a little bit nervous about the fact that he hasn't finished the last 2 seasons?
No. If you look at the rankings of our strength and conditioning per the NFL, we were ranked He had a failing grade, like strength conditioning department for our team.
Those polls coming out.
A lot of players were injured on the Ravens with better medical staff. they're probably still playing more majority of the games throughout the season. So it's not a secret with that. So no, I'm not. I mean, he's 25.
25, wow, that's crazy to think about.
He's
Still 25
he's
years
25
old,
25
former
years old.
MVP just a few years ago. We'll see where he ends up. A lot of rumors maybe thinking Washington. I hope that's not the case to put him in the NFC East.
You know what I would hear if a lot of friends from college who live in DMV who are avid Washington Commanders fans. Forgot they had the name now.
Sorry, not the football team anymore.
Yeah, Commanders, you know. Lionel Richie and the boys, you know, it's all right. But no, if that even is a remote possibility, I would never hear the end of it, honestly. But
Yeah,
Lamar doesn't get paid. I'm gonna say this, be realistic. Wherever he plays, I have to think about that now. He deserves to get his money. That's all I'm saying.
And we'll see exactly what money he does get here in the near future, probably in the next couple weeks. We'll find out where Lamar Jackson will be heading. Aaron Rodgers supposedly heading to the New York Jets, and nothing confirmed yet, but that kind of seems to be the feel around the league, and that deal could be done today or early tomorrow. But if we all know Aaron Rodgers is, who knows? And in my opinion, who cares? I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan anyway, so we'll see where he goes. But let me ask you guys this,
Green
though.
Bay East? So we're doing 2 for 2? We're doing Brett Favre to the Jets?
That's
now
right,
we're
yep,
doing Aaron Rodgers to
exactly,
the Jets?
exactly right. There
Green
you
Bay
go.
East?
I think so.
Eerily similar there. Let's talk about the Bears. They trade that #1 pick, Matt. They move
Yeah.
back now. The Panthers jump up there. David Tepper wanting to make a splash. The Panthers have just not seemed to find that quarterback here in the last couple of years. They went for Darnold. They went for Baker Mayfield. None of that worked. So now they're going to take it upon themselves to draft that quarterback. They get the #1 overall pick, and they also get DJ Moore, or the Bears do, from the Panthers. So let's just talk about the Bears now. Would you have stayed with Justin Fields, or would you have taken Bryce Young or another quarterback at #1? Do you like them trading back?
I like him trading back. I think I'm a big believer in Fields. I wish my Niners would have took him over Trey Lance.
That's right. That was a big thing
But
back
for some
then.
reason, I think it's paralysis by analysis, where people just honed in on one guy playing in a lower division and said, I think that guy's going to be good. But I don't know. It didn't make much sense to me. I think the Bears, with this move, have showed the league that, like, look, we have full faith in Justin Fields. I don't think you make that move if you don't. Getting DJ Moore is huge for them.
I agree.
Big upgrade. Him, Mooney, and the tight end that's emerging every game towards the end of the last season, I think it's going to be huge for them. And really what they have to do, I think, in this draft more than anything, is they got to shore up that O-line. They got to make that better. That O-line is bad. So I hope with all this draft currency they've got, I hope they really make some investment and protect Fields.
They did sign the guard Nate Davis, 3 years, $30 million, 19.25 guaranteed.
And they made some upgrades on defense today,
Yes,
too.
they did. They got some big ones, Jason, or 2 big ones. TJ Edwards, you don't want to say star linebacker for the Eagles, but he played like a star last year for them defensively.
Very good.
He's gone. He goes to Chicago, so they get him. I mean, Ryan Pace doing some great stuff in his second year, maybe first full year with the Chicago Bears as the general manager. But the big one here, guys, was Tremaine Edmonds, the linebacker from Buffalo, a star linebacker.
I love it.
4 years, $72 million.
I love what the Bears are doing. They're making great use of their cap space and their draft capital. Carolina, if you're looking for a #1 quarterback to be a solid #1, but you give away your best receiver at the same time, I don't get.
True.
I don't get the logic. But think about these numbers with DJ Moore. In his career, he has roughly 5,300 yards receiving in his year time in Carolina. Right now, if he had all those yards in Chicago, he'd be their leading receiver of all time on the Bears, of all time.
Yeah.
So they never had a wide receiver who had consistent seasons. Even think back
that's
to Willie
crazy to
Gault
think
and
about.
Curtis Conway and
Only Brandon Marshall.
Alshon Jeffrey, but still, in their history, no one has as many yards as DJ Moore is bringing to them already right now. And he's only 26 himself.
And he got that with mid quarterbacks.
It's true, and we'll
Very
dive into
much so.
mid-conversation here shortly. But you said it, DJ Moore has been, consistent. You said 1,000 yards, it seems like every year in a team that has not been good since he's been there. So now he goes to Chicago. They've added some other pieces. Justin Fields gets that guy, as Matt mentioned, alongside Darnell Mooney, who will now be a #2 receiver. He'd be a great #2.
Which I think that's a better fit for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll see, hopefully, how the Bears do. They're on the rise. Next year, you might have a little expectation in Chicago.
I like
depending
Justin
how
Fields
it
as well.
goes.
Before we move on, I'm a big believer in Justin Fields also. So I think with you adding more pieces to him, I think the Bears took a page out of the Eagles' playbook.
I agree 100%. Yep, and I love it.
From last year with Jalen Hurts and surrounding him with weapons. I think that's what Ryan Pace and the Bears are looking at and trying to make it somewhat, the better team, because they lost a lot of games late. They weren't always blown out in the games they lost.
Right.
So
and again, those sometimes were ugly games too. Yeah. If they just had a little bit, of structure,
a lot of 17,
offensively, that is.
A lot of 17-14 games last year.
So they were hard to watch last year as a team, except for when Justin Fields got going. He was fun to watch. So we'll see how that goes. But I think the Bears are in for a big upgrade come next season. So we'll keep an eye on them. But one team I want to highlight here before we head to the NCAA tournament is the Atlanta Falcons, making a bunch of moves today. They get Chris Lindstrom. They re-sign him on that 5-year, $100 million extension, one of the best guards in football. Yep. They trade for Jonnu Smith, who goes back with Arthur Smith when he was with Tennessee, the offensive coordinator, so he gets his old tight end back from New England. So he goes along Kyle Pitts. They seem to be adding tight ends every year besides, alongside Kyle Pitts. We'll see how that works. And then they go out and they get Jesse Bates from Cincinnati. That was the big one. A lot of teams were going after Bates. They get him for 4 years, $64 million, $23 million up front in this first season with them. So a lot of moves for the Atlanta Falcons today, and we'll see how that pays off for them this season.
We were missing. We didn't talk about average Jimmy G going.
That's right. Yeah, we'll end with that. And Matt, you know this better than anybody. You got to see Jimmy G up close and personal. Yep. He's going to head to the Oakland Raiders.
6 long years.
A lot of reunions today, guys. He'll be reunited with Josh McDaniels in Las Vegas. Yep. So they go from Derek Carr last year, Matt, to Jarrett Stidham. He played well at the end of the year when it didn't matter. Mm-hmm. And now they come and they bring in Jimmy G. What do you think about that? The Raiders on the rise?
No. I mean, Jimmy G, he's going to play mistake-free ball for the most part. He's not going to really make the errors that David Carr would make, but he also doesn't have the arm talent that David Carr made. So they took a step back. It was funny. I actually saw, on Twitter, there were a lot of Raider fans that were saying, this is it. I'm done. We get rid of Carr and we bring in a guy who's worse than Carr. So it's still not – if you're a Raiders fan, you're not very happy.
It's like the Spider-Man meme when you point at each other. Same person.
right.
Derek Carr and Jimmy G is like the same player. I mean, honestly.
Exactly.
But I still don't understand why Josh McDaniels is still getting chances in the NFL. That's just my thing. He's only good in New England.
I don't understand the Josh McDaniels thing either, especially the way the Raiders had that season last year. I thought Bisaccia did a great job at the end of the year 2 years ago. That got them to the playoffs. Last year, obviously a big letdown year. We'll see how that progresses. A final word here on Jimmy G. I'm looking at the chart in front of us, guys, and we don't have it to put on the TV, but performance passes thrown 20-plus yards in the last 3 years. Here's your chart. Here's Jimmy G. I mean, it's hard to see, but he's in the bottom left, and it's not close. By far the worst quarterback in the league when it comes to throwing the ball 20-plus yards. So with Josh McDaniels, if the Raiders like running the ball, play action, throwing it 20 yards or less, because that's what they're going to be doing a lot of in Las Vegas.
Yeah, and let me just say this about Josh McDaniels real quick before we move on to the tournament. I think this is the one problem that the NFL has, is that they get it in their mind that they have this golden boy that's a genius, and when he fails, they have somebody else that says, well, I can make him my genius, trust me. He knows what he's doing. Like we saw that with Mike Martz. We've seen this with other guys where they just keep getting these chances, and you're just like, where's this genius?
John Gruden?
John Gruden.
Gruden?
Yeah.
I agree 100% with the McDaniels thing. I mean, I don't know if there's a bigger coach riding the coattails of Bill Belichick than Josh McDaniels. I mean, even Patricia got a lot of jobs after that. A lot of those coaching guys from that New England coaching tree getting a few extra
Patricia's more known for his pencils after his coaching acumen at this point.
That's a fact.
The Eagles were in talks about bringing him in to be a linebackers coach, and the whole city of Philadelphia was in uproar once they heard that. So they haven't brought him in yet. We'll see if they do. Matt Patricia, free agent, if you will, out for the coaching in the NFL. But guys, we talked about the NFL. We could go on for another half hour, but let's dive in to the reason we're all here. It's the NCAA tournament. Yesterday was Selection Sunday on CBS, and we finally have our field, our 4 regions, and let's dive right in, guys. And we're going to start here. Before we get to the bracket itself, did anything surprise you about, from the committee in terms of teams maybe out, teams maybe in, or just seedings in general? Anything stand out to you guys?
Of course, I'm going to go with Tar Heels being absent from the tournament. Kind of shot themselves in the foot with the season they had, but also using the RPI, the net rating that everyone to use. If your net rating is higher than all the teams in the last 4 in, you should be in. Usually, if you win 20 games in the conference, 20 games in the season, you go at least 500 or better in the Power 5 conference, you make it in. So what's the criteria now? But again, they didn't have the season that they're supposed to have, and they're paying the price for it. The other thing I'm kind of miffed with the committee about is Houston being a #1 seed right now. You lose in your conference championship game to Memphis. Shout out to the Penny and the Tigers. And you lose your best player goes into injury prior to that game. Mm-hmm. But also, even with them being a #1, because they quad 1 wins, okay, you're given that. But you have Kansas and Houston who are #1s, but you don't put Kansas in a home bracket where they can play games in Kansas City. You put Houston in that bracket. Mm-hmm. Reward the #1 team that's close enough in an area to draw a fan base and to just reward them for what they normally do anyway, which you put a team that's close in the region in a favorable bracket, if you will. So why not put Kansas in that bracket where Houston is right now?
Yeah, that was an issue too. That was one of the topics of discussion yesterday. Houston obviously losing their conference championship. Kansas, they got blown out in that Big 12 championship game to Texas, who seems to be red hot right now as well. Same thing for me, guys. I think UNC not being in it is big. I think Villanova also, obviously for me personally, but everyone in the area. First time we don't have a Philly school since 1977 in the NCAA tournament. So been
77.
a while, 77.
Wow.
So tough for the city of Philadelphia and our Villanova Wildcats. Go Cats. We'll see how they do. They're in the NIT under Coach Kyle Neptune, his first season at Villanova. So North Carolina, I believe, not in the NIT.
No.
Not refused to play the NIT. And
opted
they
out.
are the first team since the tournament expanded to 64 and 85 to be ranked preseason #1 and not make the tournament.
Yeah.
So that's tough. So tough there. But again, and you saw it last year. If they got in, who knows? You never know what that team
And they were 8 seed last year, made to the championship game.
And you called that. We'll see who you have going to the championship this year in just a little bit. Let's dive now directly into the bracket. Let's start in the South region with the #1 overall seed, and that is the Alabama Crimson Tide, winners of the SEC regular season. Also took home the SEC championship, a blowout victory in the SEC title game. They won every game by double digits in that SEC tournament. They get the #1 overall seed. Guys, how confident are you in Alabama and their run to the Final Four this year? Brandon Miller, obviously we were talking about him before we went on the air. We're all, I think, big fans of Brandon Miller. Matt, what do you think about Miller and the Crimson Tide?
Oh, I think they're, to me, they have all the pieces to make a real deep run. We can talk about Brandon Miller, but they also got guys there like former Villanova
Jelly fam.
Yeah, man. That one hurts, man. 'Cause he just did not play well, and he just has gotten better and better since he's been in Alabama.
He has. He had a little tough fit this year. Yeah. He struggled to get some minutes because of how much depth they have, but he's started to really take fire the last couple games. So I just think they have all the pieces to really make a deep run. So I'm very big on them this year.
Jason, Alabama, #1 overall seed here this year. How do you think about
Alabama has passed the eye test all year long. Mm-hmm. So I want to see what they do in tournament play, particularly Coach Oates in pressure situations in tournament. So that's my key factor isn't the players, it's coaching. So I want to see how that turns out in tournament. But look on paper, what they've done all year, how can you not have them going all the way? I mean, honestly, but we'll talk about it later, but they look great.
Again, Alabama 3rd in terms overall on the KenPom rankings in terms of adjusted efficiency, 3rd this season. So again, one of the best teams in the country. And just doing some research, in the last 2 years, and 7 of the 8 teams the last 2 years in the Elite 8 have been in the top 18 in terms of KenPom efficiency. So just something to pay attention to. They always have that 1 or 2 teams that really make it in there with some upsets. But for the most part, KenPom's been pretty good in determining the Elite 8 field. We'll keep it rolling here. Alabama, we've all got Bama moving on there in that first matchup. Yep. So let's move on to the 8-9. And this is a good 8-9, guys, here between Maryland and West Virginia. Both teams, they're both physical teams. We'll see how ugly that game could get. Who knows there. But West Virginia and Maryland, how are we feeling about that matchup?
Whew. I mean, that's a flip of the coin. Yeah, I'd probably go with Maryland. I just think that they have a little bit better pieces. But, I mean, yeah, that really could go either way. I mean, that's one of the toughest games, I think, in this opening brackets that we have on here. There's 10 matchups that I think are difficult. I think this is one of the ones that's most difficult.
Well, I got to go with the home state squad here, Terps. Kevin Willard in his first season.
That's right.
Maryland, leaving Seton Hall and going to The Big Ten is still funny saying Maryland in the Big Ten, but that's
Yeah, we can talk about that
Yeah.
all another time.
another day. But
Yeah.
I like what Young and Juju Reese and the boys are doing. Great season. They've had some quality wins this year, and I think that trend continues.
So we got 2 Marylands. I'm going to roll with the Mountaineers from West Virginia. I'll take West
Going
Virginia
with
here
Coach
at the
Huggins.
9. I'm going with Bob Huggins.
Okay.
He's, again, you would think eventually his time West Virginia might be coming to an end here in the next couple of years. We'll find out if that's true or not, but I like them here. When you get games, for at least for me personally here at the 8-9s, and you look at the rankings and they're all so similar, I tend to lean a little bit to the offensive side of the ball. That's what I'm going to do here. Like Matt said, I think it's a flip of the coin. I'm just going to lean offense and go West Virginia, finding a way to beat Maryland there in the round of 64. We'll keep it rolling. Another great one here in the 12-5 matchup in San Diego State, the Aztecs, a very defensive team from out west. They're going to welcome the CAA champs, the Charleston Cougars. I had a chance to do a few of their games this year. Charleston, the real deal, guys. High-powered offense, very deep, can hit the 3 ball at a high clip. How do we feel about this 12-5 matchup? Those are always interesting.
Our first upset.
Yeah.
Roll with
there.
the Cougars, both you guys?
Cougars.
The 12-5 matchup is always that scary matchup. But we have a team like Charleston who can go 10-11 deep, and they have great shooters. Like everybody shoots at a high clip from the field, from the free throw line, and from 3. They have like 3 or 4 really good three-point shooters. I know we're talking about defense, San Diego State, but who have they played this year either as well? I mean, they might be battle tested in their conference, but when they come to the tournament, it's a one-game matchup. It's you're playing chess, not checkers. And I think when you have elite shooting and elite scoring, sometimes that wins out in the early rounds. Normally you have the guards going off and having great games. Then it gets later rounds and you have the slow down offenses. But I think for a one-game scenario, I put money on Charleston.
Again, Matt, Charleston, they played just one game versus the top 25. That was North Carolina, a tough loss to the Tar Heels. I believe that game on the road. They did beat Kent State and Virginia Tech this year, did the College of Charleston. And you look at San Diego State, a tough loss to Arizona. St. Mary's, obviously, they split with them. And Utah State, they beat them 3 times. They're in the field. A little bit more battle-tested are the Aztecs, but again, we just talked about it. They're 0-2 versus top 25 teams, very defensive-oriented. Are you going to lean offense or defense here, San Diego State and Charleston? Well, you like the Cougars.
Yeah, I'm going with Charleston. I just think that they have all the necessary weapons to harm a team that normally people would say they won't beat. And they have a lot of, to Jason's point, they have a lot of great shooters. They have a lot of great depth. And more important than that, they have all veteran guys. And when you have vets in the tournament, it's huge.
And remember, elephant in the room, UVA is the only team that's lost as a number 1 team, and as a number 1 seed to a 16 seed. So, I mean, they have propensity for upsets at this point.
Yeah.
We'll see how that plays out. I'm going to go against you guys again. I'm going with the Aztecs, having a chance to check out Charleston. Nothing against the Cougars. They're phenomenal. Just me doing some games in the CAA this year. I just think the CAA had a bad year. I mean, Delaware, not great defensively. The teams they were playing in the CAA just weren't that good, and they still dropped 2 in a row to those teams. I think Drexel and another CAA or Colonial School earlier in the year. They've got it, and if they get hot, they're going to be a tough team to beat. They could be, upset city. I'm going to stick with the Aztecs, who, again, it seems like year in and year out, don't ever live up to the hype once they get in the tournament. They never do. I think this year they at least get past the first round here in the 12-5, but this is another one that you can toss a coin.
Even from the days of Kawhi, like they just have never
they just can't
clicked in the tournament. It's just.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just told you guys, I'm not a big lean on defensive guy at all. I'm always thinking offensive. For some reason here, I just like San Diego State. Let's hope they make me look good come Thursday or Friday. So you guys take Charleston. I'm going to roll with San Diego State. Let's go to Virginia and Furman, guys.
I spoke ahead of myself. Sorry, guys.
Here we go. This is a big one.
This is a big
Virginia
one.
gets the 4 seed, Matt. Obviously, they slow the pace down. I mean, almost to, I don't know, turtle speed is how Virginia likes to operate. Furman is a hot pick, a hot upset pick, across the country, not only in this game, but maybe to go forward as well. How do you feel about Furman and Virginia?
I think it's going to be a real fight, especially Virginia. If they're down by 4, it's like any other team being down by 12.
Yeah, really, you're right.
They really struggle to put points up. And Furman, a lot of people may say, well, where's Furman? But they have a guy, Jalen Slauson, who's a defensive player of the year there for 2 years in a row. He's getting a lot of NBA interest. So he's got a lot to play for here, too. He shows up well. Trust me, his stock will go up. So there's a lot riding on this. I actually think Furman can make the upset here, so I'm going to go with the upset and take Furman.
I want to go with Furman. I really do, because I know what they can do. I've seen them play a few times on TV this season. The SoCon, people forget, SoCon is the
Elon
original.
used to be in the SoCon, baby.
SoCon is the original power conference. Used to have Carolina and everybody in the SoCon before the ACC was created. So, but even in recent memory, they've had pretty solid teams in the tournament, from Wofford to other schools. But I think because Virginia can slow down the game so much, and Furman might not be used to that, I'm going with the Wahoos, UVA.
There you go. I'm going to go with Matt. I'm going to lean Furman here. Virginia, 3-3 against the top 25. Again, they're up there, and you look at some of the metrics here, 22nd in BPI, 34th in KenPom. I'm just going to lean Furman here. I've just seen Virginia, sometimes when they get in the tournament, that style, obviously we've seen it work. They've won a national championship. They can slow it down to their advantage, but for me, I'm just going to lean Furman here and hope they can get out early, because like Mike said, if Virginia goes down early, things really start to unravel for them. But if they get up early, they can slow it down and kind of operate their pace. I'm going to go with Furman, get out early, and find a way to take down Virginia with the upsets.
Yeah, I could see Virginia winning this game too, for sure. I think everything that was said definitely could play out. But let's not forget, when they did win the championship, they also had 2 first-round draft picks on that team. They don't have anybody like that. And Hunter, DeAndre Hunter was a top 5 pick, so it's a little different.
And then was Ty Jerome the other player?
Ty Jerome was the other player.
Yes, there you go. That's right. 2 Virginia guys there in the first round. I don't know if that'll be the case here in this year's upcoming.
And a second-round guy, because Kyle Guy, too.
Kyle Guy,
That's right. Yeah, Kyle Guy.
So that's
He was
3
a
guys.
he was a pretty college player there, Kyle Guy. So there you have it there. Let's keep it rolling. Another one here. NC State, one of the last 4 in, or I believe. But not only do they get in, they don't have to play in a play-in. They get that 11 spot here at 23-10, and they're going to take on the Creighton Blue Jays, who have been up and down here as of late, but throughout the season have had one of the best offenses in college basketball. So Creighton and NC State. First off, how do you guys feel about NC State, one, getting in, and here getting that 11 spot?
Next.
That's it. Tar Heels, right?
Tar Heels.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to go Blue Jays here. Not only just because I'm a Big East fan, but I think Creighton just has too much, if they play well, because don't get me wrong, they are hit or miss. When they play well, they play well. When they play bad, they play bad. But I'm going to take Creighton to outlast NC State here in this one. I think double-digit victory for Creighton.
I'm with Creighton as well. I think that they had up downs because they were also injured throughout the year, which it seems like every year is always an injury.
Like that this year
with Creighton. Even the year that they were supposed to make the deep Final Four run, the star player got hurt in the Elite 8 games like that. So, and then how he lost the game. But Creighton always has had solid teams. They can go back 15, 20 years or so. Look at solid Creighton teams. Coach McDermott knows how to put players in the right position. Like you said, they're a Big East team, so they're know how to play tough, pulled-out games. Those 58, 56 type of games. They can win those. They also win. They can be in the 85 to 72 type of games. But I think Creighton will be too much from an offensive standpoint for NC State. Congrats to NC State for getting in. I'll give them credit. But I think that stops there. I think they're gone after the first round.
Matt, how you feeling?
Yeah, I got to go with Creighton as well. I think they just have some really good pieces there. They have Arthur Kaluma, who's a great low forward that does a lot of multitude of things on the court. NC State will only go as far as Terquavian Smith takes them. If he doesn't take them very far offensively, they're pretty flat. So I'm going with Creighton as well.
So there you have it. I think we all lean Creighton there. That takes us to our next matchup. Another one with a lot of people have their upset mind on. That is going to be the University of California, Santa Barbara at 27-7, taking on the Baylor Bears, who get that 3 spot up in the South region. Baylor coming off a national championship with Scott Drew just a few years ago. Still got a couple guys from that team on this roster. Flagler, just an example. Got some big guys down low that have been pretty good. Obviously, some guys returning from injuries as well for the Baylor Bears. But California, Santa Barbara getting a lot of love from the public coming into this matchup. Do you guys feel similar? I lean Baylor in this one. I'm
going with Baylor just because I think Keontae George is going to put up some performance.
Another guy to look out for in the draft next year.
They have, L.J. Cryer, I believe is his
Cryer,
name.
yeah.
He's solid. And Flagler is just, he's one of those guys that most teams don't have. He's a fifth-year guard who's played on some really good teams there, was there part of that championship that they won. So I just think that's great. When you can have that type of piece on your team that can calm the young guys down when things get a little crazy, I think they can pull it out.
I'm with you, Matt. The big knock, though, again, on Baylor has been the defense. They can score with the best of them, or for at least the most part of that, but the defense has just not been there all year. Is that going to be an issue for Baylor in the NCAA tournament?
No. Baylor in this game, it's not close.
Not close. There you go. Blowout call number 1 from Jason.
Like you said, you can't teach championship experience, and Baylor has that. And that will put them over the top in this 3-14.
I was going to say, I kind of like the draw for Baylor there a little bit. Obviously not Arizona. You have at the bottom that they'll meet eventually down the road. But I like some of these first couple of matchups for them. Them and Creighton's going to be a battle. We'll talk about that maybe here in a little bit. Missouri and Utah State. Missouri, under Coach Gates' first year there, they had a complete flip. A nice year for Missouri in the SEC. They come in at 24-9. They get that 7th spot, made it to the SEC semifinal, I believe, when they played Alabama. That was the semifinal. Tried to stay with them in the first half. Alabama pulled away late in that one. And then you got Utah State, one of the better shooting teams, at least offensive teams in the country there at 26-8, a 7-10 matchup. These ones usually go either way. Matt, where are you leaning in that one?
I think this game is going to be a lot harder than people anticipate. I think most people just on knee-jerk would say Missouri's got it. But to your point, Utah State has a lot of pieces there as well. I'm going to go with Missouri. I think that they have a really good defense at times, and I think they have some key guard play that I think can make things good for them, at least in this early matchup.
Jason, how do you feel? You got the SEC here in Missouri and then Utah State out west.
Going Mizzou. Show me State. Mizzou, no, they have a decent roster. Like I said, defense in opening round games is hit or miss anyway. A lot of teams.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. Yeah.
So it's kind of like if you can score in the earlier rounds, you kind of have a better chance of winning these games. And we're thinking about them from a standpoint of they couldn't play defense against SEC teams. No knock on Utah State, but they're not an SEC team. So it's going to be a different type of animal, a different matchup for them versus Missouri. And I see Missouri winning. Now, it will be a close game. I would circle this game as one of the closer games of the day, but I would still take Missouri in that matchup.
And again, what a season it's been for Kobe Brown for Missouri. You know, he's an offensive highlight reel. Give me Utah State with the upset. Give me Utah State. I'm taking the three-point shooting here. I think they're going to hit him with a barrage in this one. Again, Missouri not great defensively. They're going to hit him with a barrage from 3. It's going to be all over the place. Stephen Ashworth and Taylor Funk, they're going to light it up from beyond the arc. Give me Utah State in an upset over Missouri there in the 10-7 in the South. And let's keep it rolling. Do we have to talk about Arizona and Princeton?
No.
Arizona beating UCLA in the Pac-12 championship. They're getting hot as they go in. And again, how about this? I think 4 out of their 5 starters, or they have like 4 or 5 guys from different countries on that team. You know, very international team
their front
for
line
Arizona.
They have NBA size on their front line. They're going to be problems. The guard play is the biggest issue for Arizona.
And again, last year, though, I fell into that trap with
Mathurin.
Terry and Mathurin. I love them. They were my pick to win it all last year.
Yes, they were.
And they let me down. So I don't know about them this year. I'll take them here against Princeton. It's going to be hard for anybody to try and slow Arizona down, man. They get out and run, and those guys can run the floor, as Matt said, these big guys, and they just are tough to defend. A very tough team. They get the 2 seed in the South region. So we're all taking Arizona. And we got our picks for the first round, guys. Let's look now to the South in a whole. Who are your 2 teams you got going to the Elite 8 and then the Final 4 winner for you guys, or the Final 4 advancee in the South, guys? Where are we going to start there? Matt, who do you got?
I have Alabama.
Alabama. You got Alabama, Arizona
Yep.
in the Elite 8 and then Alabama win it?
Yep.
Jason, how do you feel?
I'm going to go, Alabama, Arizona for the Elite 8 regional final. And Alabama going to the Final 4 from the South. Yeah.
I have Alabama in the Final 4, so we're all chalk there, guys. But I have them going up against Baylor. I have Baylor beating Arizona in the Sweet 16, and I'll have Baylor into the Elite 8. Not sure if I feel great about that choice, but that's the way I'm leaning. Maybe I'm just holding a grudge against Arizona from last year. But I'm going to lean Baylor-Bama in the Elite 8 up in the South region.
Okay.
So, guys, let's roll to the East as we pick it up a notch here. Purdue and Texas Southern. I don't think there's any room for discussion there.
That's a play-in game.
And a play-in game is right. So you got Fairleigh Dickinson and Texas Southern going at it.
Doesn't matter. Purdue will win.
Purdue will win that game. And then, guys, here's my best game in the first round coming up here in the East.
Yes.
And this is going to be FAU. What a season the Owls have had. 31-3, a championship conference season, and they get a team that's pretty hot right now, and that is Penny Hardaway and the Memphis Tigers. Jason, the team that you were talking about before we went on the air. They had lost to Houston twice. Third time was a charm for them in that championship game. They beat Houston up. No Marcus Sasser, just something to think about in that contest. But Memphis getting hot at the right time. This is going to be a fantastic 8-9 in round one.
I think this is a flip from last year where they weren't hot going in, but still won a few games. Them going into the tournament hot.
That's true, actually.
Penny can coach. He keeps getting players to come in and buy into the system. I'm taking Memphis over FAU. Great season for them, but taking Memphis.
Memphis 2-3 in their 5 games against the top 25. FAU has not played a top 25 team, Matt. What are you thinking? Tigers and the Owls in the 8-9.
My heart wants to go for the Atlantic, but I just think that Memphis is going to create too much problems for them. So I'm going with Memphis.
I'm going to roll with Penny and Memphis as well. This was another really tough one for me, but I'm going to lean with Memphis and a little foreshadow. I like Memphis against Purdue in round number 2. So that's just a little foreshadowing. I know maybe I'm alone there as well.
You are not alone there.
Oh, how about Jason jumping on the Memphis bandwagon too?
You are not.
Let's talk a little bit about Purdue before we continue here, guys. How do you guys feel about Purdue? Matt, I'll start with you.
Yep.
Obviously, Big Ten champions, I believe. They won that title yesterday or on Sunday. How do you feel about Purdue? Zach Edey, huge step from last year, right? They talked, Coach Painter said, hey, he's going to have a bigger role next year. I don't know how that was possible, but he's got that role. He's getting the usage. He's their big guy. I mean, the numbers are through the roof for him. How do you feel about Purdue as a whole?
I don't like anything else that really the team has to offer.
There you go.
I mean, I think Zach Edey's played great. I mean, hats off to him. He'll probably win Player of the Year.
That's right.
But I think that this is where depth and lack of high-level talent catches up to you. I mean, Purdue's good in a lot of areas, but they're mediocre in others. And in the NCAA tournament, what you don't have is what comes to haunt you. And I think that this is going to be the problem. I think last year they were a lot stronger with Ivory and an underrated player was Trevion Williams.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Trevion Williams actually came in and played when Edey was getting gassed, and they had to put Edey on the bench. He was there to pick up that slack for them. That no longer exists. So Edey's got to keep this pace, and his conditioning has got much better. It's got people talking that maybe he could be, a high second-round pick. I think that's a little too optimistic, but it is what it is. But no, I don't think Purdue long-term does well in this tournament.
And the thing for me, Jason, that stands out, again, Matt just talked about it, experience being one, and then for me in the NCAA tournament, it's backcourt play. I think you need that experienced, talented backcourt. I don't think Purdue has it. They have a young, inexperienced backcourt, and I think that could maybe come to light here in the NCAA tour, but it usually does in scenarios like that.
Yeah, I don't trust Purdue.
So all three of us don't trust Purdue. That means they're winning the national championship, I guess, right? Like we're going to be 0 for 3. They're going to win it all. Who knows?
That's probably what it is, right?
So none of us trust Purdue. We do have them, however, getting out of round 1. So
Yes.
Purdue-Memphis matchup, I think, for all 3 of us in round 2. That could go either way. I think, who would you take in that matchup, Matt? I know both of us are taking Memphis, but I think that's a unpopular opinion. What do
No,
you
I'm taking Memphis as
All
well.
3, sweep them. Dennis. Memphis, wow. We may be the
It
only
is.
show in the country all 4 tick Memphis over Purdue.
Yeah.
Let's keep it rolling, and this is another intriguing one, guys. The Duke Blue Devils, Coach John Shire putting some things together towards the end of the season. Jeremy Roach comes back, and I like me some Jeremy Roach there, controlling the ball. He's been there before. Ryan Filipowski's having a great year. And then they get, though, a really talented team here, guys. Oral Roberts is a good team. Duke gets a 5 seed after winning the ACC championship. I think a lot of people are going to take Duke because it's Duke, but I think they got a tough draw here at the 5 with the 12 Oral Roberts.
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you right now, Jeremy Roach literally was roasted last year defensively. Every chance, every matchup he had last year, most of their losses, he was getting killed by the other guard. and he's got no chance to slow this guy down. Max Abmas, I know people don't know that name.
You're going to
Max
know it
Abmas,
after round 1, right? Yeah.
Trust me, if Jeremy Roach struggled with Caleb Love last year, this is even worse. You've got a guy that's been there for 5 years. I don't think he's ever not put up 20 points a game. He declared for the draft a couple years. He's on the scouts' radar. He's going to make it personal. I mean, this is a lot of people may not remember this, but this is how C.J. McCollum blew up. He killed Duke. At Lehigh.
There we go.
And I'm telling you, this kid, I'm not saying he's as good as CJ, but he's got the same type of chip on the shoulder, and he does not have any fear in his heart playing against Duke. None. It's going to be problems for Jeremy Roach.
Not to mention, they got a 7'5" center, obviously, in Connor Vanover.
Yeah.
So they got the size. Filipowski going to have to deal with that underneath for Duke, but also Derek Lively, who's starting to play a little bit better now. Not the number 1 recruit to the country that he was supposed to be, but he's getting better as the season has gone on from what he was when he got there. How do you feel?
Upset. Get him out of here.
Is that your heart or your head?
Both.
Yeah, it's both.
So you're both going Oral Roberts here?
I'm going Oral Roberts.
Wow, give me the Blue Devils. I don't
See, man, look.
And I don't blame you guys, to be honest with you. That's a tough one. Oral Roberts is a very talented team there at 12 seed.
Yeah, I just
30 wins.
There's so many things about Duke that just went a certain way this year. And listen, as much as people may think it's crazy for us to pick Oral Roberts, it is March Madness. This is what it's all about.
Crazy. Yeah, I'm with you.
But I also say
you,
this: listen, Duke has a little bit of buyer's remorse, whether they like to admit it or not. I mean, they took the number 1 player in Derek Lively. They took the number 2 player in Derek Whitehead coming out of high school. Neither of these guys have done much to show, and that's it.
And let me ask you this, Matt. What do you think about Whitehead? Is he a first-round pick in the draft?
I don't have a first-round grade on either one of those guys,
Also,
but I'll say this.
I think Lively kind of, towards the late first round. I think Whitehead was kind of mid-first round, but you got no first-round grades on those 2 guys.
No, but
I don't for Lively.
But the NBA last year, I didn't have a first-round grade on Peyton Watson from UCLA, who NBA team took with averaging 3 points a game at UCLA.
I remember that, yeah.
So I was like, look, when these rankings carry a lot of weight from guys' high school careers. So it wouldn't be crazy to me if some NBA team says, look, I'll take them 28th, 29th in the first round. Yeah. But it's strictly at this point a spec pick. I don't think these guys really are first-round talents right now.
And we saw, I believe, last year, Patrick Baldwin Jr., I forget, after he transferred I forget where he ended up completing Wisconsin-Milwaukee. So he was taken late first round last year, kind of a similar situation after being one of the top recruits in the country. So these 2 guys, Matt and Jason, Oral Roberts, I'm just going to take Duke. We'll see how that goes. But again, can't blame you guys for taking Oral Roberts. Here we go, Tennessee and Louisiana. Louisiana getting a lot of love as well as the 13th spot. The Raging Cajuns taking on Tennessee at 23-10. Tennessee, the 4th seed this year, really let down some people last year with their performance in the NCAA tournament, the Tennessee Volunteers. But once again, back here as the 4 seed. First off, guys, how strong is the SEC to you guys as a conference? Obviously, we talk about Alabama, and I love Alabama as a team, but for me, there's kind of a fall-off after that. Do you guys believe in Tennessee and the SEC?
I believe in Tennessee in this matchup.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say I agree with you to your point that after Alabama, there is a significant drop-off. Yeah.
I'm going to go Tennessee here against the Raging Cajuns, too. I think it could be a close game, though.
Now, if we're looking at different shows, this is the popular upset pick already?
Yeah, a lot of people like Louisiana.
But there's something about Tennessee that I think I trust them in this matchup.
And again,
at least in the first round.
Yes.
I'll put it that way.
I mean, they've got the metrics. They've had a great season. They've got the statistics this year to back it up. We'll see if they do. Number 2 adjusted defense in the country for Tennessee. We'll see how that plays out against the Raging Cajuns. We're all going Tennessee. And now we got another good one here. Yeah. You look down, you got Providence at 11, Ed Cooley and company, and then Calipari and Kentucky get that 6th seed, or excuse me, the 6th seed, 6-11.
This is where I bet against SEC. I'm taking Providence. I think Bryce Hopkins is going to be a problem for them. There's just a forward that can handle the ball, shoot. He's a chubby kid, so he doesn't have a lot of athleticism, a lot of spring in his step. But Kentucky's biggest problem has been just lack of focus, lack of understanding of where guys should be on the floor, and that has pissed off a lot of Kentucky fans who are just tired of seeing all these blue chip guys come in and really struggle to mesh with what Calipari wants them to do offensively and defensively. I think that carries on in this game, so I'm taking Providence.
See, with the Big East, you're going to head to the SEC.
Oscar Shigway still plays
He does.
Kentucky,
That's
right?
right. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Kentucky.
Okay.
And this is another, like, almost.
Now, I would say this.
for me.
Akir Shiwe would be a great pick in 1985.
I was about to say, I mean, what is it, Player of the Year? Did he win the Player of the Year last year?
He did.
He
Player of the
did.
Year
Right?
last
That's
year.
what I thought. And again,
They split
and
year.
when you win the Player of the Year and you go back to school, I'd say,
Yeah.
you know what, it might not be,
Yeah.
your draft stock might not be.
He can get you
all that
25
great.
rebounds.
That's
It's just the points that might.
He might give you 10 points.
Yeah, might give you 10
This
points.
one to me, like I said, I know this is a tough one, and you guys were split between Providence and Kentucky. This is another toss-up for me. Every time I got, attached to Providence during the regular season, they let me
you
down.
down.
They did. They
Yep.
went on a couple wins, and then they would play a good team and not show up.
Yep.
Kentucky, though, they've had stretches where they looked really bad, and then obviously, the midway to the three-quarter point of the year, they had that stretch where they looked really good. And you're
Yep.
like, oh, this could be Kentucky. And then they lose, again, drop a couple I think 2 out of their last 3 games to Vanderbilt to end the regular season. So, again, this is a toss-up for me. I'm going to, and this one might be the toughest one for me. I'm going to go Kentucky over Providence, but I don't feel good about it at all. I don't feel good about it at all. But I'm going to leave Kentucky. Ed Cooley, though, man, I'll tell you, got some dogs over at Providence.
We'll see. Ed Cooley is a great coach. Give him credit. He's a great coach. Great coach.
So let's keep moving here. Kansas State, Montana State, an interesting one. Montana State, maybe one of the teams that I know the least amount in the field, but Montana State 25-9, and they get Kansas State. Again, one of those teams out of the Big 12, up and down, it seemed like during the regular season. But they've got Keontae Johnson,
One of the most
former
stories.
former Florida Gator. Again, I got family down in Florida. We always root for the Gators growing up here, Gators. And then my other side of the family's been Villanova. So that was a big thing when he went down. Obviously, a crazy story there. Didn't get to finish his career at Florida. He took a year off. Now he's back at Kansas State playing very well. For Kansas State over there. How do you guys feel about this matchup here between Kansas State and Montana State? Kansas State, again, they're hit or miss too, one of those teams that have been up and down. Can they get it done?
I'm still going with Kansas State in this matchup, and I'm a huge Keontae Johnson fan.
Me too.
Prior to everything that happened, but also
Yeah, it was very much
I
so.
think he has put himself back into a first-round conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, he was
He was
lottery pick.
Yeah, he was one of the guys
Before the collapse
in
in the
college
court.
basketball when he was with Florida.
He was lottery pick 2 years ago.
Yep.
Would have been, everything goes a certain way.
And
but
again, you don't like to, talk about the basketball aspect of it, but that whole thing happened. That team for Florida had a pretty good team.
They
and
were
then
going to-
losing him, and they were, they fell apart.
Yeah, they were primed to go places. But I'm glad that he's able to revive his career and have the second chance. And
Agreed.
he's made the most of it. And I want to see how far this goes. But I definitely have them winning this game over the Grizzlies of Montana State.
Matt, you agree?
Yeah. Kansas State all the way.
So there you have it. Kansas State sticking to the bottom of the East here. Michigan State and USC.
It's a nasty game.
The Big Ten, it seems like a hit or a miss every year,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I think
yeah.
they had 10 teams in last year. One maybe
nasty
made it to the
game.
Elite Eight or Sweet 16. It was that bad of a year for the Big Ten last year. But they get the Pac-12 USC Trojans, who've seen to make the tournament now the last couple years. It's been 10 years since the coach from USC, his name's Andy Edelman or Antman, who used to coach Florida Gulf Coast.
Go.
10-year anniversary from Dunk City.
Dunk
this year.
City, yeah.
So 10
Dunk
years
City,
ago was Florida Gulf Coast. Wow, long
Dunk City,
time ago.
yeah.
But
Dunk
USC
City.
and Michigan State, I'm going with Tom Izzo in the tournament. Give me the Spartans over USC, but another very close
This
matchup
game's
there.
going to be a snooze fest.
Snooze fest.
I think Boogie Ellis still plays for USC, right?
Yes.
That's about all I got. USC.
I'm going USC with Ellis and Peterson.
Yeah, man,
Drew
the
Peterson's good.
only two guys are Peterson and Ellis to average double-digit points on USC. So they're going to need some backup help there. Give me the Michigan State Spartans, who can get hot offensively. Let's hope they find that in round number 1.
Yep.
So I'm going to go MSU. You guys go USC. And then let's take it to the bottom here. Vermont, it seems like they're in every single year. They have
Every year.
14,
Catamounts,
15 seed,
always
right?
around somewhere.
But is this, maybe one of the not so good Vermont teams as opposed to the last couple years, or are they going to be as strong as in the past? Marquette's had a heck of a season, guys. Shaka Smart back with a 2 seed in the NCAA tournament with the Golden Eagles. Another one of these Big East teams that made the
Champions.
tournament. Yeah, Big East champs for them at 28-6.
Coach of the year in the Big East?
I'm Golden Eagles all the way here in this one. guys.
What are we talking about? Golden Eagles. Marquette.
Marquette, all right. There you have it.
I still know about Shaka Smart with growing hair and all, but it's all right. I'm used to the havoc VCU Shaka Smart.
That's right, yeah. And then VCU, we'll get to them here in a second. Guys, give me your Elite Eight matchup, and then your Final Four advancee here from the East.
So I'm gonna go here first. I have Memphis versus Oral Roberts in the Sweet 16.
How about that? Yeah.
And I have Memphis going to the Elite Eight. I have Kentucky beating K-State in that second round matchup. So I have Kentucky versus Marquette. I have Memphis versus Marquette, and I have Marquette coming out the East.
Marquette coming out of the East.
Yes.
There you go. I've got Duke Marquette in the Elite Eight. I'm rolling with John Shire here. Again, Memphis-Duke I think is going to be a fantastic game if they meet. And then I actually had, I had Marquette too. So I'm rolling with Marquette in the East, Jason. Don't know how good I feel about it, but they get to 2 seed. You know, Shaka Smart's made a run before. Give me the Golden Eagles to come out of the East, but that is a tough region, Matt. What do you got?
I have Memphis versus Marquette, and I have Marquette.
There we go.
So we got the same one.
So we got Bam and Marquette in the Final Four. How about that, guys? That's pretty
go.
rare. We got 2 of our picks there. Let's keep it rolling to the Midwest and head to the top right of the bracket here.
Yep.
And it starts, of course, with the team, guys, that we were talking about a little while ago, the Houston Cougars. Marcus Sasser getting hurt in that championship game or the game before the championship game. I forget which one. His availability is in question. I mean, no word has come out that he won't play. I kind of feel like he has a better chance to play than to not play.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Obviously, nothing going to matter in round 1. We've got the Cougars. But let's so like we don't have to talk about it. We'll talk about them again here in a second when we talk about overall here. But that takes us to Iowa-Auburn. This is another interesting one for me here at 8-9. How do you guys feel about this one? Another SEC versus the Big Ten.
I'm taking Auburn.
I'm taking Auburn.
Bruce Pearl?
More dogs.
Yeah, more dogs. Yeah, there you go.
Chris needs Keegan to play this game with him.
Yeah. So that's a fact.
Can they get him back? Can he come back? He got years of eligibility left.
No, I'm taking Auburn in this matchup as well.
Yeah, I'm taking Auburn. Yeah.
You know, coming in, I was always thinking, I say pick against the Big Ten.
Right.
That has been, you know, the way I wanted to come into this bracket thinking here in 2023. And I like Bruce Pearl. I like Auburn in the SEC, but I'm going to go Iowa, and I'm not sure why. I don't know why. I really am not. I got an Iowa feeling. That's the best I can do for this one. Now, Iowa, again, looking at they got one of the best offenses in the country. Obviously, the defense is way far below the offense in terms of metrics. But I think Iowa and Auburn, I think could be a shootout here maybe, and I think Iowa going to outlast Auburn offensively and move on. But again, that one could go either way there at 8-9. A tough one. I'm going to go Iowa and the Hawkeyes. And that takes us to another great 12-5 match. I'm going to tell you, this Midwest region is going to be as tough to break down here, right, guys? Because Miami, what a run they had last year. Isaiah Wong and company, he's back. He's, you know, 3-point shots looking good this year for Wong. And Jordan Miller as well over for Miami. And they get another popular upset pick in Drake, who's coming into this one at 27-7. Another 5-12 matchup, guys. How we feeling? Can Miami get the job done going another run like last season?
Yes.
James Laranaga's final year in Miami, if they make a run here?
Yes.
How about that? Just 2 yes right there.
I'm going Drake.
Drake, and I'm going
Shout
Drake
out to
too.
Wanzilla. That's my boy, Wanzilla, but I can't do it.
I'm going Drake
Isaiah
as
Wanzilla,
well.
man. I'm sorry, bro.
And then, guys, let me take you to the next one here. Indiana and Kent State, and this is where I will go against the Big Ten. I got 2 upsets back-to-back here.
Whoa.
I'm taking Drake, and then give me Kent State over Indiana.
The Golden Flashes?
Lock it. Lock
Golden
it.
Flashes.
Yep, give me the,
you know
a
Trevor
lock
Hoffman doesn't play for him anymore, right?
And neither does Antonio Gates.
Yeah.
What are we doing here?
Oh, man, we could use some Antonio Gates underneath. But give me Kent State. They've had a great year. I like what they've done. Indiana I've seen play just so many times this year. And
Give me Indiana.
they're I mean, they're just.
I'm going Indiana.
I'm going
You're
Indiana.
going Indiana.
I am too.
Don't get me wrong. It would shock me if they win one game. They are not. They will not win 2 games.
They're very
Book
mid.
it.
They are as a team.
Book it. They're a mid. Yeah, talk about mid. Indiana's mid.
They're mid, but they're going to win this game.
Ty Jackson Davis, obviously, you have to worry about
Jalen
him.
Hood-Schifino's going to make sure he gets something
That's
out
a
of it.
first-round pick, too, as
Yeah.
well, come the draft. So they've got a couple guys like that. But I've watched them play, and I just haven't seen them put it together. I mean, in its totality, I'm going against Indiana. Give me Kent State.
No, they're a badly fit team. They're not. They were not put together with great chemistry. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, they seem to fight against themselves when they're in a game. Yeah.
So let me ask you guys this here, if we're going to stick with the Midwest just for a second. Matt, you had Drake, you had Miami.
Yep.
Any chance Indiana wins that second round game for you guys if they win?
I can see Indiana doing that.
No.
Yeah.
So you could have Indiana possible 16. You think Miami has just got these first 2 rounds locked up?
Yeah, at least the first 2 rounds.
I hope so.
And again, Miami
like
dealing
Wong.
with a little bit of injuries. Wong's
my boy.
I love what he did last year. Yeah, you gotta love that. Actually entered the transfer portal, I think, after the season decided
Got
to
that
stay.
NLL money, man.
With Miami.
Listen.
The money's starting to flow down there.
And y'all money the reason why Caleb Williams is in the draft. Just saying.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the case,
Next couple
going
years, gonna see
forward.
people staying in school because they already getting money.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
Guaranteed contract versus a tryout, the bonus. I'm cool with that.
Let's head over to Iowa State here. They grab the 6th seed, another team, of course, out of the Big 12. One of the best defensive teams in the country, 8th overall in terms of defense at 19 and 13. But they got the winner of a play-in here, Mississippi State and Pittsburgh. Jeff Capel getting Pitt into the tournament here. What do you guys think? Pitt or Mississippi State, do they have any chance, whoever wins that game, to take down the Cyclones?
I have Pitt beating Iowa State.
So Pitt winning 2 in a row. And Matt, let me ask you this now. Do those play-in games, do you think that builds any type of momentum for some of these teams? I think we saw Rutgers maybe win a game or 2 last year.
We saw BC go to the Final Four out the first 4.
Yeah. So do you think that can build momentum when you got an 11
Oh,
seed in
yeah.
the
I mean, that
play-in?
happened with North Carolina. I think North Carolina was a playing team. Didn't they have to
1 year they're
play-in?
playing as well, and they made it
Yeah.
to the Sweet 16. Yeah. So.
Yeah, so I think it builds. You get all those jitters out, and you get a chance to play against some teams that you got a pretty good chance to beat. And I think Pittsburgh is dangerous. I think they can beat Iowa State, and I think I have them going against Xavier next.
I do as well.
So you guys are on both. You taking Pitt to win 2 rounds. I'm
Yep.
going to go with the Cyclones here. But then again, like I said, don't hit or miss for me again. Flip a coin. But I'll take Iowa State over Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, they got the offense. We know that. They can score the basketball, the defense. And that's the interesting one about this one. Iowa State all defense, Pittsburgh all offense. Which side. And like I said, I lean offense, but this time I'm going to take Iowa State in this one, just in case Mississippi State beats Pitt.
I don't see a Jamal Tinsley or Marcus Pfizer walking through that door.
Speaking of Pfizer, I did his son's game this year.
Oh, wow.
Totally off topic. I forget what team he played for. Oh, Slam Dunk to the Beach. He played for one of those nationally ranked teams, maybe like Long Island Lutheran or one of those teams from New York. But we did some of his games. That's right.
George Niang is walking through that door at Iowa
That's
State.
right. How about that? Good name drop there, but for Pfizer. But and then another one here, Kennesaw State and Xavier. Xavier put together an obviously good year, 25-9. They get the 3 seed, but Kennesaw State, a great story coming into the NCAA tournament. So they've been a pretty hot pick as well.
Is it like their first or second year in D1 and they make it in tournament?
Yeah, I want to say it's got to be the first time ever, right?
Yeah, the first time, but they only been D1 like 1 or 2 years at this point now. So they moved up a couple years back. So.
I mean, I think 3 years ago they were like they had 1 win, and then one of the players that had that 1 win is still on the team now.
Yeah.
So that's been
It's a great
exciting to see. But how great of a story is it? Can they beat the Musketeers?
No.
The dream is over.
Xavier. We're rolling
dream
with
is
Xavier.
over.
I'm rolling with
Sorry.
Xavier as well in that one. And now another interesting one here, guys, in our 7 and 10 in the Midwest. You look at Texas A&M coming off that run to the SEC championship. Didn't work out. Brandon Miller and company blew them out in that championship game. They've been better towards the end of the season under Buzz Williams, which is kind of funny. He's got like a new look. He's got like the vest and the glasses.
Buzz,
he seems to
man.
be dressing up a little bit this year. Did Buzz
Yeah.
Williams. He's looking good on the sideline.
Buzz is still a great coach, man. That's all I say, Buzz.
But
man.
they get, though, guys, one of the hottest teams, at least in my opinion, especially offensively here as of late in the country, and that is going to be the Penn State Nittany Lions. This one for me is a tough one. I'm rolling with the 10 upset here. Give me the Nittany Lions and ride that hot offense as of late, taking down Texas A&M. You guys feel similar?
You must think this is a football game instead of a basketball game. Nah. A&M.
I'm actually going with the
Aggies.
upset as well. I'm going with Penn State.
There we go. There we go. Matt,
Jalen
hop
Pickett's
on.
going to have a big game.
And that's the difference maker for me.
Jalen
Jalen
Pickett.
Pickett.
So,
Yep.
gig 'em, Aggies. Go, gig 'em.
There you go. And that takes us to Texas Colgate.
I'm
here.
having Colgate.
I was going to say, and I was going to lead it, preface it by saying Colgate's a good team. They are.
They are.
They are a good team, especially they can knock down the 3-ball. They're good offensively. But to me, I think Texas is one of the best teams in the country. I've been hook 'em horns now.
The only Colgate I have is a smile. So that's about it. I'm going with Texas all day.
Texas,
Yeah.
Matt, Texas. All right, guys, let's pick our Elite 8 here out of the Midwest. You look up top. I've got Houston taking on Texas in the Elite 8, and I'm going with the Longhorns to advance to the Final Four. Give me Texas. I like what they've done Obviously, you lose Chris Beard. Rumors are he'll be at Ole Miss next year. That's what we heard today. But I love what they've done at Texas. You know, a lot of talent. They've been playing well. Give me the Longhorns to advance to the Final Four in the Midwest, guys.
I have Houston versus Texas, and I got Longhorns in the Final Four as well.
Me and Jason got the same Final Four teams. Matt, are you gonna Texas or Houston? How you feel? It's a tough one here.
It is a tough one. I have the same matchup, Houston versus Texas, but I'm gonna go with Houston.
Houston, again, let's hope if you're a Houston fan or Matt that Marcus Sasser is okay.
That's a fact.
And he'll be ready to go, because if not, that changes everything for
But
Houston.
Jarace Walker, mark that name.
And where do you have him? Obviously, I see him as a lottery pick for
Top
this
10.
year, top 10 pick.
That's why I have him right now.
Yeah, I like him too. We'll see how he does in the tournament. If he has a great tournament, he could be flying even further up those boards.
Same thing with Texas. They got a young guy there, Dylan Mitchell, that's really good. But he hasn't really put anything together yet.
So they're going to have a Texas and Houston for all of us. Me and Jason with Texas advancing, Matt going with the Cougars and Coach Sampson. Let's head now down to the West, where we have our defending national champs, the Kansas Jayhawks, 27-7. They've got DeJuan Harris back. They've got Jalen Wilson back. Coach Bill Self will be back after a medical leave of absence for the last week or so. He'll be ready to go here. And they get, how about the 22-12 Howard Bison getting that 16 seed here.
Let's show the HBCU some love right here. Howard's first time in a tournament
Big
since
time.
1992.
Big time, that's right.
Clap it up for them, but that's where it ends.
And you know, it's funny too, because I'm doing a lot of the high school work with the Howard Wildcats. Whenever I type in Howard to get the school here in Wilmington, and you type in Howard, the Bison always come up. So I've been looking at Bison stuff for years, unintentionally, just with the mix-up with Howard Wildcats here in Delaware.
However, you know who their coach is, right? Kenny Blakeney played at Duke under Coach K.
And then coached at Delaware.
Delaware, yeah.
Yep.
So you know, they have some good players, and they just
Howard
got
over
that.
Kansas, Jason?
Oh, when they be cussing on TV. No.
Yeah. Go ahead, man. Put them on, man.
Yes.
No.
Show the HBC some love, man.
They got love in getting there.
Maybe they could be Norfolk State
Listen,
when they beat Missouri that year.
That's right. Yeah.
they don't have Kyle O'Quinn on their roster.
That's a
Kyle
fact.
O'Quinn.
That's
Wow.
a fact.
They do have good guards at Howard, though. So here's the thing. Howard does have a bunch of talent to the point where they're getting some of the JUCO and major transfers coming to the school now. So remember, a few years ago, they had the Williams guy, who was the highest leading scorer in college basketball, who was a top recruit for most schools besides go to Howard anyway. So Blakeney, he can recruit.
Yeah.
And they got the Jordan deal, the Jordan brand stuff, so you can build
Good to see
facilities a
them
little
in the
bit.
tournament for
So
sure.
good
And
sense
then
with
the failure with Maker, unfortunately,
honestly,
which I thought was publicity stunt. But
publicity stunt, but I think also if it weren't a COVID year, they would probably been a lot better with him playing there.
Sure.
But he's in the G League now for the BC Go-Go. So
it's
you know.
not good. It wasn't good when I was like,
I
bro, what are you
mean,
doing?
his brother wasn't really that great either. But
Yeah, I know.
He's like 20 years older than he actually is.
Yeah.
His yearbook came up. We found his yearbook. That was a crazy story. But let's keep it moving here.
He was 19 going on 30. I don't know.
Arkansas and Illinois in the 8-9. I think nothing of this matchup, to be honest. I have to pick a winner, so I will. And we saw Arkansas make that run last year. Not the same talent that they had, but still right here as
Jay Will's
as
not
an
there
18.
this year.
Musselman's been good in the tournament as a coach, especially here with Arkansas. And Illinois, man, I'm still upset with Illinois from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
With Ayu, Desumnu, and Kofi, and they let me down. They were my Arizona letdown from 2 years ago. I think, like I said, nothing of this game. Whoever wins, I think will get axed in round 2 anyway. I'm going to go Arkansas here in this one.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm going Arkansas, even though they piss me off. They're one of the most. They have a lot of talent on that team, and they just, I don't know, they're just so inconsistent as a group.
Eric Musselman's their head coach.
Wow,
That's why.
They haven't been bad.
But that's why.
Another great one here, and some people have labeled this one as the matchup of round number 1. St. Mary's taking on VCU in another 5-12 matchup. Ace Baldwin and Virginia Commonwealth taking home that conference title on Sunday. And then, of course, St. Mary's has had a great year, but blown out by Gonzaga in their conference tournament. What do you guys think here? I think this is a very tough one on paper.
Going VCU.
I'm going with my hometown guy, Ace Boogie, Baltimore. I'm going with Ace Baldwin and VCU.
And Busy Bones, shout out Busy Bones as well, VCU.
Yeah, I'm going with Ace. Actually, Ace came in Busy's last year, so they were in the backcourt together for a little bit.
There you go.
But
yeah,
yeah,
rooting them on.
got Ace Boogie, VCU, but they have a bunch of different guards that can. Hearn and a couple of guys that are pretty good. I have VCU in this game. That's just what it is.
VCU, man?
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Gales. Give me St. Mary's.
There you go.
But like I said, this one is another one that could go either way. This one, and again, I've said I haven't felt great about a lot of one. This one might be the one I have the toughest time with. So I'm going to go with the Gales, but VCU and Baldwin could definitely get the better of St. Mary's in that matchup. I'm going to go with the Gales, though. And that takes us to an interesting one here. I know I've said that 50 times today. UConn and Iona in the 4-13. So Danny Hurley and Rick Pitino. A lot of the rumors, Rick Pitino going to be up at St. John's next year. That's what they're saying. So they could be recruiting against each other for years to come. They'll be going at it for years to come. But they get an early start here with UConn and Iona. UConn, with Ken Pom, is the fourth most efficient team in the country. A lot of people had them going to the national championship in the preseason. Here they are.
What?
Yeah, at the 4. A couple.
This is not 2004 or 11.
And they weren't drinking. It wasn't happy hour.
No, it might. No, not happy hour. UConn.
We're talking about the women's team.
Yeah, we're talking about the women's team.
Wait a minute.
That's what it is. Let's talk about the women's team.
And I'm not a historically UConn supporter, but I will stand up for them in this instance. Do you guys have Iona taking down UConn around?
No, I have UConn.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
I have Iona. I'm going with the Gales.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Iona and Rick Pitino, and I tell you, Rick Pitino is a hell of a coach.
Well, he wasn't with the Celtics, but it's okay. But I'm going with Rick Pitino right here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Coaching matchup. Yeah.
Okay. I like
All right.
that.
I have UConn winning that, and then I have UConn playing Kansas in the Sweet 16.
Yes, me too.
So that's what I got there. Let's go to TCU and then Arizona State and Nevada. Me personally, I don't think Nevada should be in the tournament. They get a play-in game. They get Arizona State. I think Mr. Other, Bobby Hurley, wins that matchup for the Sun Devils. I think Arizona State gets that win. And then obviously some interesting stuff going on with Lampkin and TCU for the Horned Frogs. So I don't think he's away from the team. He will not be playing. But TCU, whenever I watched them, obviously during the season, they were great on the road. They played, good neutral sites. And then when they were games they were supposed to win, they just got killed or got beat up and lost some of those games. They've been hit or miss all year. So for me, it comes down to Arizona State, TCU. How do you guys feel about either Nevada or that matchup?
I'm going TCU because they have the biggest thing going for them, which is they got a veteran backcourt with Hogg and Miles.
Yeah. I'm going TCU as well. I
have TCU as well there. Gonzaga and Grand Canyon. Gonzaga this year getting a 3 seed, guys, there for the Zags. Will Grand Canyon put up a fight with them at all here in round 1?
No.
Zags, all right.
Come on, Drew Timme, man. That's my guy, man.
He's back for his 20th year.
20th year of college, right?
Yeah. He's got to be. He's like.
Shout out to Drew Timme in his 1954 post game.
Yeah,
that's right. Really. Yeah. Talk about Stetson Bennett. He's like Stetson Bennett in Georgia.
No, Drew Timme was in Hoosiers as a.
That's a fact. He was in Hoosiers.
Like Jimmy Chitwood.
Yeah, he was Jimmy Chitwood. All right.
Here we go. Northwestern and Boise State. Northwestern. Interesting year for Northwestern, right? They kind of have not had a great end to the season. Have some good wins out of the Big Ten. Yep. I'm rolling with Boise State, though, here in this one, guys. Give me the 10 over the 10-7 in this one as well. I like the Boise State Broncos. I think offensively they'll have too much for Northwestern. Northwestern's got a good defense, but give me Boise State to outscore them and win.
I am going with the Wildcats. I'm going with Northwestern.
Northwestern?
Yep, me too.
And that takes us to the bottom. UCLA and UNC Asheville. UNC Asheville, one of the better shooting teams in the country. They get the Bruins from UCLA, who again, obviously I believe they lost Jalen Clark now for the foreseeable future. Yep. He will be out. I don't think they'll have any trouble with UNC Asheville. We'll see how that plays them going deep into the tournament. Give me UCLA in this round, though, obviously.
Bruins.
Yeah, I'm going Bruins as well.
All right, well then let's take it to the Elite Eight in the West. Who do you guys got?
I'm going Kansas versus Gonzaga, and I have Kansas coming out.
Oh, there you go, Jason. What about you? There you go. I'm going Kansas, UCLA. I got UCLA beating Gonzaga. The Jalen Clark thing worries me. I've been big on UCLA all year. With the age, they got the experience we talked about. One of the best defensive teams in the country. But the Jalen Clark thing hurts a little bit. But give me UCLA. I'm still going to stick with the Bruins and have them go to the Final Four, Mick Cronin and company. I'm going to stick with them to get through Gonzaga and get through Kansas. And I know when you get to UCLA and Kansas, that's what I have in the Elite Eight. I think that'll be a great game. To me, Kansas doesn't have the scoring. They lost Agbaji from last year. Jalen Wilson's been great for them, DeJuan Harris and company, but I just don't think they're going to be able to score at a clip like they did or were able to last year. A big presence down low, obviously, as well. So give me UCLA over Kansas. So 2 Gonzaga. So none of us have Kansas coming out of the West.
No, I do.
No,
I thought you said Gonzaga. Oh, no, you got Kansas beating Gonzaga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh. So you both have Kansas. I'm going with UCLA.
You forgetting about Grady Dick, though. Grady Dick he's a problem, man.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
You already made the pick, though.
And it's still, like I said,
And you
I
have
like
Kevin
the
McCullough.
Jayhawks.
You have Kevin
Where do you
McCullough?
have Dick going in the draft? You have
Top 10.
Top 10?
Yeah, he's tough, man. He's tough. I liked him in
That's
high
true
school.
too. That is true too. Am I disrespecting him too much here, Jason?
No, he's going to use it.
All right, give me UCLA, but I do have Kansas in the Elite Eight. I got UCLA beating Kansas. So here we go with our Final Fours. Jason, you have Bama, Marquette,
Texas,
and Kansas. I'm going Bama, Marquette, Texas, and UCLA. And Matt, I think you got Bama,
I got Bama, Marquette, Houston, and Kansas.
Houston, and Kansas. So just one difference, I think, amongst all 3 of us.
Yeah, which means
There.
None of us are going to be
wrong.
right.
So get national championship, Jason. Who you got?
Alabama versus Texas. And I have Alabama winning the whole thing.
National champions. Matt, who you got?
I have Alabama versus Houston. Alabama winning the whole thing.
Alabama winning the whole thing. Wow, this is a tough one for me. Jason, I was
Way
kind
to
of
be
with you.
contrarian. Come on.
I wanted to. I've got, man, that's tough.
I mean, you could pick Marquette, though.
Because here's the thing. I think Bama, UCLA, and Texas, I'll fill out 3, and those will be my 3 winners. I'm going to take those 3 to win it in those 3 brackets. In my, my top one, if you will, I have Bama over Marquette, so I have Bama in the national championship.
Don't tell me you're picking UCLA. To win
I
the whole
wasn't.
thing.
I was going to pick Texas to beat UCLA, but for the sake of this show, give me the Bruins. I'm going to roll with the Bruins again and stick with them. No Jalen Clark. Give me the Bruins. We're rolling to Houston, the
Wow.
national championship.
Okay.
Give me Bama, UCLA.
Going
and
back to 95, I see. All right.
Bama,
Tyus anything
UCLA.
out there, man.
And I'm going to go. I'm going
That's
to go.
Tiger Campbell. That's not Tyus Head.
Jaime Jaquez, baby. There we go. To me, Brandon Miller, though, and Bama, when we've seen them, the games that they've lost, they've been muck-up games, obviously, where the teams have been
Yeah.
able to make the game so ugly, and that's how
Brave.
you can beat Alabama.
You're a
But
brave
when they're
man.
on, man, they're on.
You're a brave man.
And remember, that's Maurer Bailey, not Toby Bailey.
They're going to need Amari Bailey to step it up in the NCAA tournament. He's going to have to be that guy that they thought he was going to be if they're going to advance there. Give me Bama, UCLA, and I'm going to have to go with Bama to win the championship. I don't.
Oh, Lord. Somebody's going to lose this.
Yeah, that's right.
We all pay Alabama.
But like I said, my second one, I'll have Texas winning,
knock
and then I'll
out
have
the first round or
UCLA
something.
winning. So
Actually,
those are
you know
my
what?
3. Give me if you had to pick 3 champ. Obviously, we all grown with Alabama here
Yeah.
to start. What are 2 other teams that you guys think you wouldn't be, or that you would have maybe winning the national title?
You know what? I'm probably gonna go on a tangent, and I think whoever comes out of the East between Marquette and Memphis could win the national championship.
Really? Well, see, for me, the East is the weakest region, in my opinion. I would take all the other 3 teams over them, but then again, that's why maybe it'll go differently. So, Matt, how do you feel? So you like Bama, and then whoever comes out of the East as
Yeah.
a potential second national champ?
And the third one would be Texas.
Yeah, I'm there with you, Matt. How do you feel?
I think I have Gonzaga as being a possible. I could see them maybe if things go right, and I could definitely see Texas coming in.
See, man, there you go. There we have it. Bama, Texas.
Which means Arizona's
UCLA.
going to win the national championship.
There you go.
I can't trust Arizona anymore. We'll see how it goes. They've got a good shot. Guys, biggest sleeper before we close out. Is there a sleeper team you guys like to make a run to the Elite Eight, the Sweet 16, maybe even the Final Four?
Ooh, let me see. Sleeper team.
I'll start here, guys. I'll go with, give me Drake. I like where Drake is at. If Sasser is anywhat banged up, guys, I'm going with Drake to get to potentially the Sweet 16. If Kent State beats Indiana, then you got a Drake-Kent State in the second round. That's a match a game I think Drake can win. Drake goes to the Sweet 16. You never know what's up with Houston by then. Give me Drake, though, to get to the Sweet 16.
Okay, so I've already said Memphis is on the Memphis train, but I can't pick them for the sake of this segment here. Sleeper team, going through all these teams. I'll take 2. Out of the Midwest, I'll go Xavier.
Okay.
Out of the West, I'll go VCU.
Matt, how you feel about a sleeper team?
I got Charleston. I think Charleston
yeah.
could probably go into the Sweet 16. I think they'll eventually get rumped by Alabama. And I think if there's another team, I would say it would maybe if things go right, I could see Memphis coming out further than people have them.
So there you have it, Dennis. Before we get out of here, give us your national champ. Kansas. Dennis is going back to back.
Back to back.
Bill Self and the Jayhawks. Back to back. Hasn't been done since the Florida Gators, 2007, 2008. Right. So we'll see if Kansas can put that together. All of us three here have Alabama, which is pretty
scary.
I don't want to say interesting again because I said it a million times, but pretty scary is right. That's one way to put it. I don't know if we've all ever had the same national champion.
We have not.
We do this year.
So
it's a lock, Alabama.
Let's pick these, just for the sake of for fun here, the first four. We know they're not going to go anywhere past the first four, but
never know.
We never know. But so Texas A&M Corpus Christi versus Southeast Missouri State.
I'm going Corpus Christi.
Me as well.
Yeah, I'm going.
And they give me Pittsburgh in the second one. They were good there.
Yep.
I'm taking Texas Southern over FDU.
Wow, taking the 14, the big upset there with you. I've had a chance to see Dickinson play a few times this year. Give me Fairleigh Dickinson in that one.
I'm going Fairleigh Dickinson.
And then to round it out, like I said, I don't think Nevada should have been in the field. I stand by that.
Arizona State.
In fact, I think it's kind of crazy they are in. Give me Arizona State.
I'm with you.
So there you have it, guys. Our first shot at our 2023 NCAA tournament bracket. And as you all know at home, we will be back periodically throughout the NCAA tournament to see how we've done, how you've all done at home, and then give our insight as to what to look for as the tournament progresses. As we said, Jason picking, I believe, the national championship correct last year. And we'll look to have some similar success there. Matt's first year only in the NCAA tournament here. So how you feeling? You feeling good about some of your picks?
Not at all.
But we talked about this.
If you use my bracket and you win, give me a pack of gum. There you go.
There you go, and we'll see you at the studio.
Yeah, it might be all it's worth.
That might be all it's worth. Big Red. Give me the Big Red.
Oh, Big Red. There you have Ricky
I
Bobby.
go to the old folks. That's the old folks gum, man. You gotta do it right, man. No bubblicious.
That's right.
Gotta grow up a little bit, man.
Big League Chew, man. I'm still in the childhood phase.
Big League Chew.
Big League Chew. Not that I still chew. That's the only gum. I'm really not a big gum guy. It's the only gum I ever.
Original or grape?
You gotta go grape.
I like it all. Grape, apple. They had that.
I love the apple.
Yeah,
the apple's good.
All right, so let's, guys, before we head out, any closing words here. NCAA tournament playing games get started tomorrow night. Obviously, the whole thing underway Thursday, early afternoon, 12 o'clock tip. Any
closing words is that when we come back, we get our women's bracket out here well. And I have LSU beating South Carolina in that.
Oh, Dawn Staley is
Here we go.
Wow.
This guy.
Dawn Staley is just.
I'm going with LSU.
I'm not betting against Dawn Staley. That's him saying.
I'm going with another hometown product, the Bayou Barbie. You know, Angel Reese, LSU, Flo J.
I will say, I love her game.
I'm going with LSU.
I will say
all the way.
that. So there you have it, guys. Matt, any last words here? What are you looking for ahead of the NCAA tournament? Anything in particular?
Just looking at the guys and seeing how they develop. I mean, every year, guys go out there, lift their stock up. I'm anxious to see who comes out and like shows and pushes their stock up. And
I think there's a decent amount of first-round talent when you look at the NCAA tournament field. Usually, sometimes in some years you don't have that. I think this year there's a lot of guys.
I'll say this: although we pick the teams that we have in our Final Fours and things, this might be the most wide-open tournament in the last few years.
Really?
I agree with that.
Because outside of Alabama, are there any strong number ones? I don't think so.
And the
they all got wrinkles on,
right? And the last couple of years, I think the number one seeders won the national championship. How many of the last years? I think it's been a number one trend here the last 3 or 4 years. I have to go back and check. But, it never used to be like that, winning it all, but it has been, recently. Kansas, obviously a 1 seed last year. So we will see how it goes, guys, but it's going to be a fun NCAA tournament, as Jason said, could be wide open. We'll see how our brackets do starting on Thursday, early afternoon.
12 noon, first game.
12 noon. Well, we'll talk to you guys later on the week. For Nick Alessandrini, Jason McCall, and Matthew Maurer, we will see you. Good luck with all your brackets, and get ready for some great college basketball.
There you go.